Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Line of the Week number 75. Many years ago, when I was a student at Berklee College of Music in Boston, Hal Crook was one of my teachers, harmony teachers. And he was very important in teaching me and many others how to apply chord scales to improvisation as opposed to just theoretically deriving them, how to apply them. He taught me how to resolve tension in a musical way, and he really stressed the play rest approach, which is playing for a while and then resting for a while and then playing again to create phrases, something that occurs kind of naturally or more naturally to sax players, horn players, wind instruments where they got to catch their breath. You will hear more breath and phrasing in their music naturally occurring. With the piano and the guitar, particularly, you have to be mindful of your phrasing and of your resting. Um, Also, with what I'm doing with my lines of the week, um, I have to have a shout out to Tim Miller, who is a guitarist who also teaches now at Berklee, and he's got lessons on his website too, and I highly recommend them. I took him for a while. Um, he taught me and many others the 2-1-2 approach um, that you can learn about it at his website, timmillermusic.com. Um, Along with that, I developed my own right hand fingerstyle method. So I combined all these influences to kind of create my own vocabulary and technique. Um, what I do is take these influences and I create shapes. And from these shapes, I connect the shapes and I create lines from those shapes. It doesn't really happen the other way around. I don't create lines and then memorize the lines and apply them to tunes. Rather, I've got my shapes and my little technique and my vocabulary, and those things generate the shapes. The shapes, rather, they generate the lines, and the lines are what I show as examples in videos such as this, Line of the Week 75. So um, well, before I move on, let me just talk about real quickly this book. It's called Ready, Aim, Improvise by Hal Crook, and I'll put the link in the description. I don't have any monetary interest, by the way, in Hal Crook or Tim Miller at all in any fashion. But there's a quote in the book that says, "A non-harmonic, disagreeable sounding approach note may be diatonic, but is often non-diatonic to the chord or chord scale and must resolve directly, immediately, or indirectly, eventually, or within 1.5 beats duration, by half step to a target note or another approach note." And then he refers to another book that he wrote called How to Improvise. And if you're going to buy one of the two books, I would first get the How to Improvise book. This book came out after I took him at Berklee. And when I was at Berklee, I wrote down all the notes and I would carry them with me for years after. And they just got torn and ragged, and I was hoping that he would come out with a book just for convenience sake, and he eventually did with How to Improvise. And it's all about just the resolving of tension is, as far as I apply it, is how to go from shape to shape when you're having to resolve a note that is not contained in both shapes. For example, if you've got an A flat over G7 and you've got to resolve the A flat and you're resolving to C major 7, you want to resolve it to G. You just find a shape, but you want to, at the point of chord change, resolve it either directly or indirectly from A flat to G, that note. Now you can do that directly, immediately, or you can do it indirectly. And you can also, you can do it at the point of chord change, or you can do it before the point of chord change, anticipating the change, or you can do it after the point of chord change with a delayed resolution. But let's talk about specifically this line of the week, number 75. We've got E flat. Here's the chord, the chords themselves. E flat minor 7 going to A flat 7, D minor 7 to G7, D flat minor 7 to G flat 7, resolving to C minor 7. These are secondary dominants, and you'll find them as an example in the Bird Blues. And this is straight out of Bird Blues, except like Blues for Alice, except Blues for Alice is in the key of F. This example is in B flat. It's also using 16th note harmony instead of swing eighths. But in the example, I'm including the left hand fingering, the right hand fingering, the pull-offs, the hammer-ons, standard notation, and tab. Now the accompanying chord scales that I've turned into shapes, I just refer to the shape, or rather the scale, the parent scale of, for example, D flat major over E flat minor 7, and I refer to it as D flat major. You could call it E flat Dorian. It's the same collection of notes. It doesn't matter. So going on to A flat 7, the chord A flat 7, the chord scale I'm using is E flat melodic minor. D minor 7, I'm using C major, G7, D melodic minor, D flat minor 7, I'm using B major, G flat 7, I'm using D flat melodic minor, resolving to C minor 7, which is B flat major. Parent scale or C Dorian. So that's it for this week. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can email, or however you want to contact me is fine. It's hard to know how esoteric this stuff is because it is sort of personal to me, the way I've developed it. It's kind of my own vocabulary that has been influenced by Tim Miller, Hal Crook, and others. And I don't teach professionally, so feedback is always welcome, and I'll try to answer any questions you may have. Thanks very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.